smoking marijuana to blow your mind, but in the end, nothing goes wrong. Nothing goes wrong.
Fuck you talking about? And my conscience and my people asking me what the fuck am I doing? Fuck these niggas talking about, man. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? All these dreams I'm pursuing. Is everything that I touch turned into gold, or is it just ruin? King Midas ain't had these problems, my speaking patterns ain't fluent. And trust niggas I can't, I gave hoes a chance to me, they all blew it. In 5th grade, my teacher told me don't do drugs, it ain't worth it. Nowadays it's just wake up, drink, blow the pack and start working. I'm stressed out so I'm puffing, dank, probably about to start serving. This money shit is like all I think, I'm saving money on purpose. It's different though when your lady go to school studying to be a surgeon. Damn, this rap shit kinda starting not to sound urgent. Should meet my idols in person, or dream about it less often. You 17, you got time, Jay, you still trying to see what life offers. You trippin', nigga, this shit I reckon I'm next in line to get coffin. Fuck that, observe, make moves, prosper more and less talking. I'm going off of my partner, them, I'm blowing off.
Better put some respect on the name. The go. One shot, 2 shot, 3 shot.
3 shots.
Roll up the blunt, I'ma get high.
Get high.
1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot.
3 shots.
I'ma roll up the blunt and get high.
Get high.
Blood talk, we on.
What we on?
Roll up the blunt and get zone.
Get zone.
Blood talk, we on.
What we on?
Roll up the blunt and get stoned.
Get zone. Hey, let's go. You know where we at. You know where we at.
Hello everyone, welcome to Bud Talk. Today this is another Bud Talk production. We are back with another showcase. This time this is our month of July showcase, which is, if y'all did not know, July is Black Business Month. So today we will have a Black Business Showcase. Today we are going to have a conversation with some gorgeous people that are Black business minded and they are successful. And hopefully they can give us the insight we need. Ain't no hopefully to it. They will give us the insight we need and the motivation and inspiration we need to continue this prosperity in our community. With that said, let me get some quick introductions here. Starting with, we have Karina Brooks King. She is the owner and operator of Nail Geek Florida. She not only does she does press on nails, but she also has a series of handmade lotions, scrubs, bath salts, and whipped shea butters. That is Miss Karina Brooks King.
Oh, down at the bottom right.
Okay, bottom
how
right.
you doing, Karina?
Hello.
I'm just going to give you a quick endorsement. My lady has bought some of her product. She's been raving about it to me. I had to send her some dollars for some more. So I know it's about that action, boss.
Okay.
Secondly, we have Deja Avery Hart. Deja Avery Hart, she is the owner and operator of Buy Some Goodies. With that said, should be self-explanatory, but Deja and her family, they are chefs, they are bakers, and they specialize in marijuana-infused products. Their goal is a lot, but I am going to read you a little bit for her. Buy Some Goodies LLC is a family-operated bakery. It's ran by the mother, Anessa, and the daughter, Deja. Mom and daughter can't go wrong with there. As I said, they specialize in THC-infused and uninfused treats. So if you got a family member that, water on the knee, back soreness, they can get something. If you don't want to participate, still get you some chocolate chip cookies and brownies or something. Don't be like that. But they started their trek in the THC bakery to not only increase the sales, but to provide comfort to people who are in pain, discomfort, or just want to a different way of consuming THC. They understand that everybody don't want to smoke. Everybody might not want to, have a bong or something of that nature. So definitely give her a look-see. Her website will be posted in the description of the podcast on all of our platforms. So will Miss King's, and so will the next person who, the next person is now, because we have one of our Bud Talk family, as y'all know, Hefe Hef is from Chicago. It's a pleasure to really have her on here because what she does touches us personally. It really does. But we have Liz Abuna, but she is the owner and operator of 40 Acres Fresh Market. What 40 Acres Fresh Market is, it's a social enterprise grocer with the mission to increase access to affordable, high quality, fresh fruits. And most importantly, she does this in underserved areas. That means our communities, y'all. People that look like us. Help her. We got to support. We got to show love. They believe in the power of community to develop, build, and sustain their own resources and are proud to be part of the economic revitalization on Chicago's West Side. She launched in January 2018 with a one-day pop-up produce mart. She currently functions as a mobile produce vendor operating pop-up marts, produce stands, and she even has a delivery service. That's right. Call up. She can bring them fresh foods to your home. No excuses.
Where are you located?
She is in the Chicago West Side. Okay. But that is Liz Abuna. I'm not gonna say it. I'm sorry if I butchered it. That's that. But now that we have the intros in, we also have a couple people that are supposed to be popping in a little later on. As they come, we will introduce. But we can get straight into it, ladies. Let me start by asking, how are y'all today? How's everyone in the family doing? Especially with COVID, you know, this is why we're here and not like at a grand table or something. But how's the family doing? How's everyone doing? How's everyone's mental health on today?
It's pretty good. It's hot here in Florida, so as hot as it is, I don't get a chance to enjoy it because it's time to social distance. So I've been staying in, working from home or whatever, and just enjoying the AC.
I understand. You ain't wrong for that. Gotta, be safe, especially in Florida. You know, we see the news, we hear the stories. We definitely want you to remain safe, keep the family safe, keep the husband safe, and just be safe. Ain't no other thing you can say. Just be safe.
So have y'all been getting a chance? Have any of y'all got a chance to actually go to the grocery stores or any stores at all, and kind of, you know what I mean, since y'all been quarantining or anything like that?
I gotta go to the store every day.
Yeah. It's like I call myself buying a month's worth of groceries and they eat it like in a few days.
Right. Yeah.
There is no such thing as a month worth of groceries when you go to the store.
Like, how do you feel now? Like, how do y'all feel now, like going into the stores and stuff, and like, you know, now that, you know, the everyday thing is to now wear a mask or have some kind of like protective gear on, or, you know what I mean? Like, we not used to that. So, you know what I mean? It's like you walk in there, it's like, damn, every other aisle you see somebody with, you know, somebody with a mask or, you know, some gloves on, or I can see some people with like plastic raincoats on, all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, the plastic raincoats was blowing me.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the grocery store today. I run a grocery business, so I'm around groceries every day, but I went into the store for the stuff that, you know, my business doesn't sell.
Right.
In Chicago, like, everybody requires why are my earpods still in? Ow. Everybody requires a mask anyway, so it's just, and it's been going on since the middle of March, so just kind of used to it at this point. Like, you kind of have to just move through life, like, under this. I hate calling it a new normal because I hate normalizing all of this, and I'm hoping that it doesn't last forever. But at some point, you have to live life. And honestly, I've never been in like quarantine or lockdown because COVID was like a growth engine for our business, and so
same for us.
Yeah, I've been working nonstop since all this started.
Yeah, that's definitely, I definitely say, like, you know, with everything starting and stuff, it's definitely been shifted high gear mode since, you know what I mean, everything kind of took a stop and kind of calmed down. It's actually where the world kind of like stopped and not necessarily calmed down, but like, you know what I mean, kind of took a pause for a second, you know what I mean, and some reflection. You know what I'm saying? So I think all of us probably took the opportunity to really kind of like boost our businesses and things like that. And kind of just take care of the small stuff that probably just been putting off to.
As always, that's the
Yeah.
goal, here to help.
I mean, I think that what COVID did was, you're right, it slowed the world down and it made people more mindful of their purchasing decisions.
Yeah.
Overnight.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
Overnight, people were like, okay, all of a sudden it's important for me to support local businesses. And then when George Floyd happened and the world is watching because everybody is home, now everybody's like, I need to support Black-owned businesses. And so we just kind of hit this convergence of, an essential business at a time where people are paying attention to small and local, and then you layer on being Black, and it's been, I can't say it's been bad for us.
Yeah, I think COVID in Florida it's a lot different than everywhere else because like most of the people here are really weird. So most of the businesses require masks, but they're not with that here. Like we just recently in my area had a guy actually get into a fist fight because he was refusing to wear his mask. So quarantine here is wild compared to other places. Like they're not trying to have that.
A fist fight?
Here.
What they doing? For a mask? That's how they clowning?
Yeah, like they were like, wear your mask in the Walmart. He was like, no. And started a fight. So that's how they're playing it down here. Like people, I wear my mask. Most people do, but there's like a whole anti-mask thing going on down here.
Yeah.
Then with the whole recent Black Lives Matter situations and stuff like that, it brought a lot of attention to Black businesses, especially down here in the South.
Yeah.
People kind of look at us as more of a hustle than a business.
Yeah.
So taking us seriously, I've seen a lot more people taking us more seriously because especially down here, there's a lot of us down here, but again, it's seen more of like a side hustle or not something that you would take seriously.
And that's the thing I think also too, like here in the Midwest, we kind of like with us in the Midwest, we draw so many different like identities from different coasts and sides of the country. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like with us, like we have kind of like a Southern hospitality kind of vibe about us too. But it's like they treat us the same way here with Black businesses. Like they treat us like more like a side hustle and not like an actual business. Even like, you know what I mean, other Black people in our city, you know what I'm saying? Like they all want to try to come and get the best deal when the deal is that we're a Black business.
Right.
To get off the ground, and the prices that we have now are cheaper than what a Walmart or a Foot Locker or a Hanes or whatever it is selling, or Pick and Save is selling. That's the deal. That is the deal. You know what I mean? Like, why do you feel like you need to cut another corner to, you know what I mean, benefit yourself when, you know what I mean, the goal is to benefit everybody?
I think what has been most important for Black business during COVID is that people had to realize that Black business is still business.
Yeah.
Right.
And with that, they understood that if I'm paying this price for this product, because one stereotype I never enjoyed and I never liked was that people would say, just because it's Black owned don't mean you can charge me more. Right? And I used to tell folks, you have to understand, if Bob across the street got a retail store, his investment loan was, let's see, at 3%, right? Our investment loan was at 8%. So we have to find a way to make that difference. You know, we cannot buy things as a startup business in bulk like you can a major retailer like Target or Walmart. So again, we have to make that difference. People think the profit margin is sky high. Sometimes the profit margin is half a penny on a dollar.
Right.
And that's, you know, the reality of the situation. But with COVID, the same things you were going to Walmart for and Target for, they don't have, because everybody ran to Walmart and Target. But, you know, Katrina Karina's shop up the street, she got paper towel, she got laundry detergent, she got good soap, she got good lotion, you know what I'm saying? Not all the essential stuff you need. And you, truth be told, you really end up breaking even when you buy it. You know, so I think that was the most important for Black business during COVID.
I think for me, I've been a business from day one, but the thing that like really, my biggest pet peeve is when somebody asks how my project is going. Like, like I'm a college student working on a like a mock startup for a class or a grade. And I have to remind people, this is not a project. I pay taxes. I have a payroll. I pay people Social Security and unemployment taxes. I've never seen a project that does that. This is not a project. This is a business. Like, just because we have made it a point to go where all y'all other mofos won't go because you can think, like, let's be clear. You don't see the value in our dollar. I did. So they think of it more as like, oh, if she's in these underserved neighborhoods, if she's in Black neighborhoods, it has to be some type of philanthropic project. And so I always have to correct people and say, I don't have a project, I have a business.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I sign motherfuckers' checks. Get that right.
Oh, God. I understand.
Right? Then the
that ain't no flex. That ain't no flex when it's the truth. That ain't flex when it's the truth. You're right. We do business.
I appreciate that, Liz. We really do. I appreciate that. Like, that's facts, though. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, Miss Deja, you haven't spoke yet. You know, you got anything as far as like, you know, going on, or your input or your insight on anything?
I will say business has been great since COVID because nobody has.
Yeah, talk your shit.
Nobody's doing anything. People either want to, in our line of work, people want to eat because what else they got to do?
Right.
Yes, and that's my mom. She walked in on us. Yeah, so COVID has been great to me. I really hope this ain't our new normal, but what you gonna do if it is? Besides, keep on going.
I just want to I'm sorry. I just want to let people know 2 people just joined us. One is Kimberly Newton. She is the owner and operator of Essentially Yours. I'm gonna let her I'm going to give her a second to once she connects with her audio, I will give her a second to let her know what she does. The other is Mrs. Carla Smith. She is an educator and she runs a early education school. So we're going to give her a second once she gets her audio together as well. I just want to give a shout out to the people that are following us on live on Instagram. If you have a question you want us to ask the ladies, please feel free to send it. And we, as always, our goal is to motivate, educate, and inspire. So if that's what you're trying to do, you're trying to get an answer question, maybe one of these ladies are in a particular field that you are looking to get in, this is a great opportunity to get to get a little bit of knowledge.
For sure. Everybody on the social media, for sure.
So I do want to let everyone know I do appreciate and thank you guys just for your time. Time, your energy, and your knowledge. I really do appreciate it. With that said, we could just hop right back in conversation. Where was we at?
We're still getting off a little bit.
Yes. Deja, you wanted to continue your point?
No, business has been great. I'm thankful. Hopefully people continue to see the importance in the Black businesses and our Black dollars, because that's how this whole nation is being financed and ran. So that's that on that.
Yeah, I agree. It also exposes them to more quality, products. Like the stuff that I make, I make them here by hand. There are no chemicals or weird stuff in it. Everything is pure, and I source a lot of my ingredients from the Caribbean and Africa. Nothing Chinese or anything like that. So I think it will expose people to something that's well made, made with love, and made with their best interest in mind. Because when you buy things, especially in America, from these stores, you really have no idea what's in it or who was touching it or what happened to it before you got a hold of it, So a lot of things here are marketed for you to buy, but you have no idea the source of that. And there aren't any children working in a sweatshop making my stuff. So that's why I think that it's important to support makers who make things themselves and create things with their own hands. And another point I want to make is I'm self-funded, so I don't answer to a bank or to anyone else like that. So that's another thing that with Black businesses, most of the time we are self-funded, and therefore, no, it's not going to be something cheap, that you buy, because like I said, there's no bank backing me that would force me to buy from China or AliExpress or something like that to give you a cheaper, product, something that would be cheaper for me because I owe someone else. Right. So I think that's also important, especially when supporting Black businesses. Most of us are funding ourselves.
And we get, and that's another, like, I add to that point, like, we get so in debt with these banks and loans and all these loan sharks and stuff like that, trying to find money and get money, where, Black people ourselves can build our own financial groups. There's financial Black groups out there that is, revolving money through groups, just like how, white folks do, how they are able to build all these golf courses out of nowhere. A lot of this money is funded through these little small groups that they create themselves.
Hey, Chris, we actually got a question from live on Instagram.
Oh, hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. We got a question from live on Instagram.
Yeah, Refugees92, one of our longtime Bud Talk Mafia members, wanted to know, he said the Black community is in need of financial literacy classes. What do we have to do to get it back in our public school systems? That's a good question. Once again, from Refugees92.
I think financial literacy is something that you should be teaching your child yourself. You don't want who is in charge of the country currently teaching your child anything about finances, because America is based, it's a credit-based system. It's capitalistic. So that means that it is based on human production and not really you creating anything on your own. So basically the so-called American financial system is based on you getting a job, working, paying into the system, using credit, when you should be teaching your kids how to avoid that and build a solid foundation like real estate investments and avoiding credit card debt. So you want to teach that yourself. You want to teach your kids that yourself.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We have the credit-based system is tearing us up. It's tearing us up. As a community, is tearing us apart.
That's I could say for now, I definitely can say, like, my parents never really taught me about the credit system, taught me about banking and how to go about banking, and, you know what I mean, how to go about saving your money or where the money should go or who it comes from. But, you know what I mean, like, that's something I think that's always been important. I think we should always teach our Black children and just teach people, period, because there's adults walking around here that don't even know, that still don't know. You know what I mean? So, I definitely think, like I said, it goes back to me saying, like, about those groups and being able to revolve money within our own groups and within our own communities, where we can be able to bring about these financial literacy classes and these groups and these sessions and these, we'll be able to obtain buildings that we can have these classes and sessions and things in, where we can teach people like us and that look like us, that way we don't have to worry about sending our kids to these schools and these places that we are for sure that they're gonna really get the right information that they need. You know what I'm saying?
I asked this question. How do we get to a point where we have a financial knowledge base, right, as a community, where we can say, we can fully withdraw from Walmart, Target, you know, these major Fortune 500 companies, these, you know, brick and mortar staples of American society, and have our own Black, you know, an all Black business mall.
So are you asking like when?
Right. When and what type of knowledge base do we need to have?
What is it, or kind of like, what does it look like?
Like, what is it, if I'm 18, right, I just graduated high school, I'm getting ready to start my first year of college, right? What information do I need to know about taxes? What information do I need to know about paying for school? What type of information do I need to know to not get in a situation where I'm living credit based? Because that's currently what they do to us in college.
Right.
They put us in a situation where we're living credit based.
Yeah.
How do we, or what is some things we can teach, I should say, right? Where we can teach those kids when they graduate 8th grade in high school and say, yo, these next 4 years, I need you to master these skills.
Well,
so
I'll jump in here. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Carla.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think we got to get away from the mindset of just, and this is an unpopular opinion, let me say that, that it has to be fully Black owned, because Black people don't own enough things right now for it to ever be that. I think we kind of got to trick our way into the system, right? I think if we're telling our kids Black owned, they're not going to quite get there. You kind of got to get them in place in the other man's system. And then they learn all the tricks and trades to kind of break out and do things on their own. I also think growing up, so my story's kind of interesting. We grew up poor, but we didn't know it. I think our parents had a lot more pride than we do now. They didn't tell us we were poor, right? If we couldn't afford something, it was just a simple no. And they tried to make up for it in other ways. But I run a school. I hear parents all the time, you know, I ain't got money for that. I can't afford that. We can't do that. Or it's the extreme. I'll buy you whatever you want. You can have, if you want it, you see it, you have it. There's really no balance now. It's like parents are either too blunt or they're just too giving. And so I think our issue is not necessarily keeping the money in the Black community as much as it is teaching them what cash is, teaching them what a debit card is. My kids love, just use your debit card. I'm like, you do understand if there's nothing in the bank, that debit card ain't doing nothing but just doing emotion. And so we start teaching them, here's $2. Let's go deposit into your account. Now with your debit card, you swipe it, you have something there. We do a game here at home where they have to buy their own groceries. And we give them $25. There's two, well, I have 3, but 2 of them. And they have to make a grocery list. They realize almond milk costs more than cow's milk. Things that we just buy at home, they're like, oh, I don't want almond milk anymore. I don't have to buy milk this time. Because now that they're doing it, it makes a big difference. So I think starting.
I love.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I know that stuff expensive.
It is, and even like
grown man, you buying it yourself. You ain't asking mom and daddy to buy it. That's the difference.
The other crazy thing is, they'll tell us, well, don't go to Kroger this time. Go to Dollar Tree or go to Aldi. We're like, no, we always go to Kroger. Well, I don't want to get my gummy bears from Kroger. Go to Dollar Tree for mine. So it's teaching them like all of that stuff from a very young age to where they're asking us about real estate investments. They're questioning going to college. I still want them to go, but I'm listening. So I just think it starts with like how you teach your kids. We got to stop trying to be their friend and give them everything. And we also have to stop trying to be their friend and be too blunt with them. Just, no, we can't afford that. We don't have that. Let the kids have pride, but stop spoiling them just rotten. So that's just kind of my take on that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. That's a good point. I agree.
My take on it, I have one that I sent to college. The best thing about college, people get wrapped up in the name of the college and the prestige of the college. I sent mine to a local college, same education, 1/3 of the price.
Absolutely.
The degree is in her hands and it's just as useful. The second one, that wasn't his thing, so he took a trade, and he's also successful. We should also not make getting a trade seem like it's less than, because it's not. Tradesmen, that's valid. Getting a trade.
All the trade
quite
people are
valid.
essential workers right now. They're the ones still employed. So trades are very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very valid, and we have to realize that
I have trade.
going to college not for
I go to work every day.
yeah. So 9 times out of 10, if you have a trade, you're gonna be working when somebody like me, a data analyst, is gonna be at home twiddling their thumbs. So, so you know, the, having a trade is what's up. The trade is actually what got my business going, because you know, I do nails and I'm an esthetician as well as being a data analyst, and I'm gonna tell you that will get me past, you know, that will open some doors that being in IT cannot. So we should teach kids that getting trades is
Ask a quick
valid.
question, Karina. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Do you know how to create apps?
I sure do.
Ooh.
Networking.
Look, give her your black dollar. Go ahead, give her your black dollar.
I'll talk to you afterwards.
Sorry, off topic. I'm sorry. Off topic.
Oh, refugee had another question.
Yes. I'm sorry. Real quick, we got
Somebody chimed
We
in.
got another question from the live. Same person, refugee 2Es 92. Hey, got some good questions out here today. Why are felons denied opportunities to get out and get those business loans even after they've served their time? They can be the best owners around and potential pioneers in these new industries.
I think it's the stigma.
Yeah, you can't. I'm gonna be real. Like, that's another probably totally off-topic issue. But once you go through the system, I have a family member that's constantly going through the prison system. But once you go through that, you can forget about going to a bank and getting anything from a bank. They're not gonna give a felon nothing. I don't care how good your presentation is or what kind of business plan you have. That's out. So. You're gonna have, you're gonna have to self-fund, and that's just how it's gonna.
I'm sorry. Like, how is there a way? Like, I know they're working. Like, how do we like change that? How do we, like, you know what I mean? How do we go about?
I think
making that opportunity, you know, available.
I think something that a lot of felons don't know is try to get your record expunged. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can try to do that and see, you know, because a lot of jobs you want, they're not going to pay the dollars to go, you know, through litigation to see these files, right?
You can get by it and try to get a trade, but even some bonds, depending upon the crime, you won't be able to get. So I highly recommend getting your record expunged, getting a lawyer, or you're going to have to get somebody to front the business for you or something to that effect.
Yep. I mean, there's programs right now. So actually about roughly 50% of my staff has a felony conviction or multiple felony convictions. And there are like reentry programs, turnaround programs, whatever they want to call them, that incentivizes employers to hire people after returning from incarceration. Sometimes, like, I think that actions have consequences, and sometimes it's just like, it's not to say that you'll never start a business or you can never find a good paying job, but it's a slog to get there. Like, you're gonna have to go through more hoops. Maybe if your record is 5 to 10 years behind you, like, I know we're actually losing one of our best employees because he was able to get into the trades. He's a union carpenter's apprentice. the construction industry is opening back up, and he is leaving 40 acres to go back to doing construction work. He has a background that's like almost 10 years behind him. And so honestly, the best thing right now that a felon an ex-offender can do within the system is to just put as much time between themselves and their last conviction, so
Right.
they can have the opportunity to build credit, build work history, build savings, build income. But it's not going to happen fresh out of prison. It's likely not. And then on the institutional systemic end, like what can people do to make that transition easier for ex-offenders who disproportionately are coming from our neighborhoods, our communities, and making it so they don't go back, so they can be with their families, you know,
try to make honest dollars,
etc., is to hire them. And it to encourage our governments, like our local governments, to make subsidies for small businesses and incentives for small businesses to hire them. Encourage our black philanthropists to create funds that could be grant funds for ex-offenders to start their own business. I've been blessed with several small business grants that have actually totaled a lot of money. And so
while we're there, can I just ask a question? Because I believe I know the answer, but I think this is something to gloat about. I think this is something to brag about. You had got a grant from a very, very prominent person in the world. Can you tell us how that came about and who that was?
Okay. So 40 Acres Fresh Market is a founding member of the Live Healthy Chicago coalition, which was put together to respond to the racial disparities in COVID-19 deaths and cases, and is funded by the Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation. So we received a grant from Oprah.
Oh wow. That's what's
Yay. That is so awesome.
That's beautiful.
So super excited about that.
Should be proud of you.
Thank you, girl. I appreciate it.
That's why I said that's something to gloat about. That's something
It
you know, you working.
And she just said it so we got a grant from Oprah.
I know, just that, like Oprah, you know.
You seeing the fruits of your labor, literally. Yeah.
No pun
Eating
intended.
pizza, talking about Oprah.
So basically, there was a pastor out here who somehow got the attention of Oprah Winfrey. When COVID hit, she decided she wanted to give a shit ton of money to find ways, like in some way, to like help. And she chose, I think, 5 different cities that have meant a lot in her path. So like her hometown in Mississippi, I think Nashville, Tennessee, Chicago, obviously, because that's like the home of her eponymous show, LA, and I think some other place. And so this pastor that you know, she kind of took a liking to was like, let me gather the people doing the work in this area of equity and racial justice and food security and the need for food and food access. So you kind of put those together, and 40 Acres had been around for over 2 years at that point, and we've been just grinding pop-up markets, delivery service at every single community meeting, basically telling people we're going to put a grocery store in your neighborhood. We're going to put a grocery store on the west side of Chicago. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We need your help. Support us along the way.
We gonna do it. How do we get you here? How do we be able to create that here? How can we be able to bring that?
I'm sorry, you live in Milwaukee. So what had happened was What
So what happened was,
So here's what. So basically, when the topic of food access came up, 40 Acres came up, and they were like, "Will you be part of this coalition?" And I'm gonna be dead ass.
Right.
At first, I didn't know Oprah was involved. They just told me that I needed to be on some conference calls. That I was really like, I don't have time for this right now. So I wasn't really paying attention until about 2 to 3 days before the presentation to Oprah herself,
Right.
and I was like, oh, we're trying to get money from Oprah. Oh, okay. I mean, I was out doing deliveries. I was getting supplies for my team. Like, I was just running every single day that I was like, I don't have time for useless conference calls. Just tell me what you want me to do and I'll go do it.
Right.
So,
right.
But I didn't realize at first that that's what it was going to be. In terms of being outside of Chicago, I've always said, with a lot of startups, the whole goal is like scale fast, get as many locations as you possibly can,
Right.
and then figure out, once you get really big, how you make money from it. I think that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Uber doesn't make money. Amazon was huge, and Amazon, it took them almost 2 damn decades to make money. With us, I said, let us figure it out in Chicago. Let us figure out how to make money selling groceries in neighborhoods that other grocers have struggled in. Let us get our first store. Let's get that store profitable, and then see what we've done that's repeatable, and then take it elsewhere.
It makes sense to me.
Because I think it's always easier to grow
sense.
where you know for a fact that you can be able to get your get your product out, get word of mouth out, be able to allow people to kind of know who you are. Most people, I mean, if you're from there, most people know you, know who you are, know your product. You know what I'm saying? Know you as a person and know that you're a pretty stand-up kind of person, and that, you know what I mean, whatever you do, you know, you're going to go into it with full intent. You know what I'm saying? And
well,
I think that's like that's
because I'm not from here. I'm from New
you're
York.
not.
No, I am from upstate New York, born, raised. I didn't move to Chicago to 2012. I moved here to grad school. Yep. And I went to the West Side accidentally. I'm not from the West Side. And if you know Chicago, the West Side is really tight knit. It's like not 6 degrees of separation. It's like 2 to 3 degrees of separation. Everybody knows everybody.
So what made you do it there instead of not going back home with it?
Well, one, I live in Chicago. It wasn't my plan to do this. I worked at Microsoft when I came up for the idea for 40 Acres. I was making money at Microsoft.
Right.
Good. And then I was running an errand and was on the bus and thought that I was going near O'Hare Airport.
Right.
I didn't know where I was going. So I get off the bus in this neighborhood and I'm thinking like it's going to be like mixed residential with businesses, and all I see is like boarded up buildings, liquor stores, fried chicken place, and I need cash. And I can't find a bank. I can't find like a CVS to go buy some candy and get cash back. I can't find a grocery store. I can't find basic things. You're talking about basic foundations of an economy: finance, wellness, and food. And I can't find them in a neighborhood, and I'm looking around and everybody's Black like me. But I live in a predominantly white neighborhood in Chicago, and I can get anything I want, whatever I want, within a 10-minute walk of my house. Something's not right here. So that's the neighborhood that introduced me to this tale of two Chicagos, where I was like, this isn't okay. And then the wheel started turning.
That's amazing. That's amazing to me. I think that's dope. Mark, you got...
I did have questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know
the IG took the chat somewhere else. We with that. We wasn't no biggie.
That's
but
amazing. That's dope.
I did want to know, what is the biggest obstacle you think you've faced that you've had to overcome to become successful?
Who are you asking?
All of you. General question.
Let's hear from Kimberly, since she's in here now. What do you think has been your biggest obstacle while trying to get your business running and profitable?
Definitely support from peers and other like-minded business professionals. It's been very, especially when you're trying to build something from the ground up. And then also, if you are in a business where there are other professionals who may have something that's similar, working on your brand to make sure that it doesn't conflict with what other people are doing. Trying to still stand out, trying to still have your own voice in the midst of being around other like-minded individuals. So it can be very trying. And I can say the difference between back then and now is social media. You can be friends with any and everybody. And it's like, say if you have 2,000 plus friends, there's definitely going to be someone else on your friends list who does something very similar, if not almost like, you know, what it is that you do. And so having that close contact of, okay, can we either collab or share ideas? Can we just brainstorm together? You know, maybe even a situation like this where we're, you know, all sitting in a room together, just talking about, you know, different business ideas. Sometimes the hang up is, I don't want you stepping on my toes. I don't want you doing the same thing that I'm doing. I don't want you taking from me. And it's like, there's plenty of room at the table for us to eat.
Creative.
Absolutely. So that's definitely the biggest hang up I think that I found so far as a business professional is doing the work that I do, knowing that I'm an individual and that I stand out and that my work is not like the next person's, but there's always that competitive type of energy out, you know, especially with I don't want to say it's especially with brown people. I think it's anybody, but because I work with my people the most, that's where I notice the most tension. And so it becomes a little frustrating because again, I'm that person who believes there's plenty of room at the table for all of us. Who I am and what I represent is not going to be like you at all. Me having that mindset is what's allowed me to continue to propel my business and my thoughts and the work that I do without having not too many hangups, but I would say that's my opinion on that. And I apologize for my tardiness, but I'm so grateful to be here with all of you guys. Thank you so much for the invite.
We appreciate all y'all for coming. Once again, for everybody, anybody that is just joining the Q&A, we appreciate y'all for coming. This is our Blood Talk Black Business Month Q&A. We appreciate y'all for showing up. Once again, we're going to have some popping questions from the IG, from lives and stuff. So if y'all want to take any questions, you can. If not, we can pass on them. But that's it. Anybody else want to take on that question?
Yeah, I definitely agree on the like doing the same thing as someone and trying not to step on their toes. I actually have a friend who inspired me to go into THC infused treats. And I was worried that I either wouldn't get any business because she does the exact same thing that we're doing, or nobody would support because now I'm all of a sudden doing something that somebody else is doing, you know what I'm saying? And also being a self-funded type of business, if I don't have support and I don't get nothing. And so I'm just out here dry.
Right.
So I would definitely say, yeah, those are my opinions.
It's also a matter of getting understanding. That was my biggest thing with starting our business. It was just putting the limitations on myself because of there are so many other people out there in Instagram world on the Explore page who are doing the same thing that we're doing. And who, just like my daughter said, who's going to support us when everybody else is doing the same thing? But somebody said this to me also. It's like, if you go to the grocery store and stand in the bread aisle, how many different loaves of bread are there? So there's room out there for all of us.
Yeah. Anybody else want any points before or Murphy, you got anything to say?
I think I'm trying to say something for I have to go back to doing my job, but I think the thing about doing I'm sorry guys, I was looking at something, but the thing about no, I'm working. I'm like playing hooky and talking to you guys at the same time. But being self-funded and having your own business and doing something that everybody is doing, you just have to do you. Like you can't worry about what somebody else is doing. It's a million people making body products right now, but that has nothing to do with me. So I'm making my stuff, and people draw to my product because of me. And I feel like the energy you put into something, it goes into your product, and people can feel that, and that's why people are successful, because they're doing something and they're putting that energy into it. So you have to just do you, and if you do you and you do it with with good intent, then whatever you're doing is gonna prosper, because everybody's doing the same thing. Like all of us have services and businesses. There's somebody else doing it too. So it's nothing you're doing that somebody else is not doing, but they're not you. So you just have to do it, and you'll be successful.
That's a mantra to live by. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's one thing that I live by every single day of my life, that when I'm doing my business, is no matter who does what no matter who does the work that's similar to what I do, who I am and what I represent in my personal business is still going to stand out. And I market myself differently. I advertise my work differently, whereas someone else may, advertise some of the same things that I may do that's similar in their own way. So definitely, I agree. A mantra to live by. I live it every day.
That's fact. I just to kind of close that point off, I think the whole thing is just like, finding your identity within your business, and while you're growing amongst your peers and while you're growing in your environment. I think that's, definitely an important, thing, because with us, like with what we're doing, of course, I'm sure there's somebody on the side of the map where it's legal to smoke recreationally is doing a podcast and probably got, they guys and whoever else doing whatever. But like y'all said, nobody's us. Nobody's here in Milwaukee doing it. Nobody's here in the Midwest doing it. Nobody's here trying to stir the pot where it never got stirred before. You know what I mean? Like, so with us, how we're going about, handling our business and showing people who we are and how we take care of our business and what Bud Talk really represents and stands for is about our identity, and making sure that, along the way we take the proper steps. We put ourselves around the right people. We take in the right information as well. And we being aware of what's going on in our communities and stuff, because that's, I think, also too, with us doing the Black Business Month, what's important for Bud Talk to show is true identity and where we stand, in this whole situation, because at the end of the day, we are 4 Black men in front of a camera. And if we don't do the right thing with setting this up, we're no less than anybody else on the other side of the camera, you know what I'm saying? So that's just that on that.
That's that on that.
But Murph, any more questions, ladies? Y'all all right? Anybody want to take a brief break? Anybody need to take a quick break? Anything like that? Bathroom breaks?
I'm just
Oh, Deja, you have people on our Instagram live that know you. You guys,
they waving and saying hi.
You know the name.
One of them is DJ P and Dub.
DJ Panda. Panda.
Yeah. Who was the other one? The other one was Medusa Ivy. I think that's your cousin.
It's my cousin.
Yeah.
They both dropped in and said, hey. So I'm just back out. They both dropped in.
Hey.
That's what's up. Family check here.
So,
All right. Well, Mark, did you want to touch on a couple more questions, or you want to take a?
yes, I wanted to know. What do you feel is the next milestone for you and your business?
What is the next milestone?
And
Get
we'll
me
start
products
with.
out of the state of Ohio.
What'd you say, Dash?
Get these products out of the state of Ohio.
That's the
What
next.
part of Ohio are you in?
I'm in Cleveland.
I'm in Columbus.
Look, my mom lives down there.
That's hilarious.
See,
Definitely show.
Expanding.
Ohio and how did you know it?
That's what's up.
Look,
Yeah,
I live in a suburb of Ohio, but I just started shipping products. Like the Facebook group that we're in, I started shipping products to our group people. But outside of just our group, I want to be able to expand. I want to be able to send stuff to Hawaii and New Jersey and Florida and California, and I want people to know my brand wherever I am.
I just want a store.
Yes.
I want my first brick and mortar store, and I wanted it 2 years ago, but God's timing and everything. But I want to move forward with that process and be able to be a part of the West Side's permanent infrastructure, because that's really what's necessary. It's not about oh, you're bringing food to an impoverished area. One, it's not impoverished. Two, this is not a charity. Three, in order for a neighborhood to no longer be underserved, it has to have fundamental infrastructure. And for 40 acres, that means we need a store.
Yeah.
Simple.
I feel that. I think property, owning some real estate in any regard, I don't care what you're doing, is important. To be honest, as long as you can have an office. It could be a four walls, no windows. That's your spot. That's your space. And when you grow with your business, that space gonna grow. And then eventually, when your business becomes as successful as it is, you're gonna be able to sell that space, that extra large space that you done grew. Now that 4 walls that didn't have no windows probably got 5-6 windows with 6 extra floors. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? But I think with us, my goal is also to have a store or have some kind of real estate or property or storefront where we can be able to sell merchandise and, be able to add to our community and bring income into our community as well. And, I think also another goal for us too is also having some kind of education on how you can learn about cannabis and the properties of cannabis and how it's beneficial to our communities, how that this plant is tax-free. The money off this plant right now is tax-free and it can be changed. And we all know, or most business-minded people know, that within a year, a person can give you a certain amount of money freely, untaxed, without the government telling you yay or nay. Now, if you have multiple businesses like this that have this untaxed free money, the government once again says nothing against multiple people bringing together large amounts of money within the one fiscal year. So there's a lot of possibilities that we can have with all this untaxed free money when we have Black business owners that are like-minded and willing to help grow our communities the same way.
Anybody else?
Can I go back to something that we were talking about before?
Sure.
We were talking before, I think, about financial literacy and what we teach our kids. And yeah. I hear a lot of talk about stay away from credit. We have to own real estate. Mm-hmm. And I think that where we might miss the mark is not necessarily credit's bad, but how do you use credit to your advantage? Mm-hmm. Because
there's a difference.
There's a huge difference. Because people who are doing okay will stay away from debt, but people who are really making money know how to leverage debt so they can make more money. Yeah. They arbitrage the hell out of that shit. They get they work on their credit so they can get debt at like nothing. If debt costs you nothing, then it's actually cheaper for you to carry debt while you use the cash that you would have spent by buying some type of asset outright, and you use it to buy another asset that makes you more than what you're actually paying on the loan. And so here's an example of that. There's this thing like, do you pay off your mortgage really fast, or do you invest that money in the stock market? So it depends on what your interest rate is. If you have a 3.5% interest rate on your mortgage, why are you putting cash on that when you can make 7.5% in the market?
Valid.
And I think that when you really start talking about money and ownership and building, like, we have to know how all aspects of capital markets work. We do have to know about, taxation, like the fact that being a high income wage earner is the worst thing you could do tax wise. It's the worst thing you could do, because you're going to get hit with that 40% tax. Because the way the government taxes income is you pay taxes first and then you pay your bills. But if you're an owner, you pay your bills first and then you pay taxes on what's left. So I think like teaching these things, like there's a lot more nuance and complexity to it that obviously you're not going to teach a 5-year-old, but I think we kind of have to get out of the mindset of like there's only like one way to build wealth, and kind of get into those higher level financial discussions about when you're really arbitraging the shit out of your money. That's just one thing I wanted to put out there, because I kind of hear like a similar narrative and I'm like, I think that's just way overly simplistic.
Really like knowing how to move your money around.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, also, I don't know if you guys are into like the financial freedom genre of like blogs, podcasts and stuff, but you have people that like live on their credit cards. But what they do is they get a credit card, and the interest rate doesn't matter because they're always going to pay it off every month. They put everything on that credit card. And then they pay it off every month, so they never carry a balance, so they never actually paying interest on it, and all they do is collect points. And then it's called travel hacking. And then they travel the world for like basically nothing because they've racked up all of these points.
Oh, they not funny.
Like, if you know how, that's why I'm saying, if you know how to use credit, if you know like how to make it cheap for you, you can actually use it to your advantage to get more and make more. So that's why I'm kind of like, if my kid, like if I don't have kids yet, but if I had a kid, the first thing I would do is I put them on my credit card as an authorized user to build their credit so that they can get low interest rates when it's time for them to buy a house or get a car loan or do whatever. Next thing I would do is get them a credit card with a very low balance that I controlled or whatever, and say, you put your phone bill on this, you earn the points, and every month you pay it off so you don't carry a balance. Get them in that habit so they start to learn how to use these things to their advantages, so it works for them instead of against them, because that's what I wasn't taught. And I feel like if we simply tell our kids, stay away from this to avoid the mistakes we made when we were in college, they're going to miss out on opportunities for like wealth building, moving capital, and getting even further ahead.
That makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense because you can do that in college. That makes sense.
Anything else, bro?
That's all I have to say about that.
Anybody else want to chime back in or retouch on something? Anybody? No?
Let's hit a couple more points, bro, and then see where we
at. What advice would you give someone that is hesitant on starting their vision and going into business for themselves?
You're really smart. They're really smart to be hesitant. This shit is hard as hell.
Okay.
It makes you gotta be able to analyze the situation. Like you got like for me, like I wanted to start a dispensary and have a whole grow and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I can go talk to somebody and go start that by the end of this month. Man, you start doing your research, you start putting these numbers together, and you start seeing all that stuff adding up in all these different lanes and buy and shit you got to bypass and stuff you need to sign and people you need to actually talk to. You gonna be like, man, yeah, I'm gonna be hesitant as hell. I'm gonna take a step back, you know what I mean, and sit back and understand what the situation is in front of me, and also understand that there's other ways about getting into the industry and understanding how to get to those points. Like, you know what I mean? Like with us, like I think that the most important thing was definitely just understanding how the industry works and just understanding the different lanes and directions we can take with what we have in our hands right now, because we are so flexible in what we do. You know, we can be directed and changed in so many different ways, and you know what I mean? And the fact that, you know, we can reach out to Black businesses of all different kinds, you know what I mean, at the stage we're in now, you know, and be able to bring people together is just, you know, just fact of that, you know, us understanding what the industry has for us and sitting back and, you know, taking that time and being observant and understanding.
You gotta be observant, you gotta be understanding what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Like she said, you gotta be smart. Yeah. It's smart to be hesitant.
Like, I think, oh, go ahead.
I would also say, and this is just me, I see a lot of us, we're doing double duty, right? We're trying to start a business and we're working full time in somebody else's business because we need that income. I was blessed to work on 40 Acres Fresh Market full time from the very beginning and, you know, go a long time before I even started drawing any kind of salary. So my advice to somebody is to work for someone else, get an expertise, get a network that you can call on for things, but most importantly, stack your paper, pay down your debt, get your living expenses as low as you can, and just stack, because there's going to come a point where your business needs all of you and you can't scale without giving it all of you. So if you're thinking about starting a business, prepare to be a business owner. And one of the biggest things that people don't really like to tell new business owners is you're not going to make no money. Yeah. You might lose money. Yeah. Like, not might, you're going to lose. Let's just be prepared to lose money. Be prepared to make a lot of mistakes that are going to cost you more than you thought they were. Like, but prepare for that financially so that you can give your all to your business. Like, I feel like in this whole age of like, we got to own our own businesses, blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, but there's a way to get there smart. And I like what Carla said is like, use the broader society. Let's use what the assets they have. Let's use the things they have to enrich ourselves so that we can go out and start our own thing. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't pay myself. I started in January 2018. I didn't pay myself until I think October 2019, and I'm still eating off of Microsoft money. And I left Microsoft in November 2017. So if we could, like, if you do the math on that, like, Microsoft was what it was, but it afforded me the opportunity to do 40 Acres my way and put everything I had. So I would say I'm further along in my business than some of my peers who also work in food, who've been toiling for years because they're doing double duty. They're splitting time between what pays the bills and their dream. So that's just my perspective, but I'm sure other people disagree with me, but I just think stack as much
I
And
don't.
That all
I
makes sense.
totally agree with you, and for a couple of reasons. So my opinion would definitely be to change your environment,
Yeah.
find your tribe. There are the last people to support you are your family and friends. So go find your tribe. There's a network of people out here who just have businesses. Find the people who are thriving, the ones who are willing to share knowledge and other information with you.
Yeah.
Them your new homies. Those are your new homies. And keep your day job until you have enough, income to say, okay, I'm gonna cut ties with this because my business is doing well. I've been in business for this. I'm going to my 3rd year now. I still have my day job. I look at it. It's the way I look at my day job now versus, I hate this job. I want to just focus on business. I'm tired of doing this. And so I've kind of changed my thinking. I've changed my thought process. I've changed the way that I even talk about my job. I'm doing my day job while I get business stuff together. And I don't experience burnout because of the way that I set myself up. And so I look at it as my day job is paying me to get the job that I love, to get my business afloat the way that I want it to be. So that's given me a fresher outlook on, okay, I don't want this job. I'm tired of it, but it's helping me get the business that I want, the longevity that I'm, aspiring to have for myself and my children. It's giving me the opportunity to get myself established the way I need to until I can cut ties with them. So find an environment, find a tribe of people who are on the same wavelength and path that you are, network as much as possible, and don't quit your day job just yet. Hold those ties until you're where you need to be and you can actually cut ties with them.
Yeah. Before we close that I want to piggyback. Like, I definitely think like you definitely have to change your environment. I think it's important that I think we all said it, just, putting yourself around people that are like-minded like you, that are willing to go get it like you, or, that are willing to feed you a certain kind of energy. You might be down in a rut or something like that, but for a fact, if you go put yourself around these people, you're going to, get yourself back into shape, and you're going to be able to handle your day the way you need to handle it, and be able to just take on, different obstacles and objectives and things like that, and handle that stuff better, man. Like, it's always just a good thing to put yourself in a better environment, especially when you start a new business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Another thing I would add is meditate. Because while you're doing your day job, funding your dream, it'll be stressful. Some days will be better than others, but my God, get that meditation in.
Yeah. Look, with the deep breath too.
I meditate.
And it don't have to be long and drawn out. Just 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes a day before you start, is, trust me, it works. I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, being an entrepreneur, I agree. Being an entrepreneur put me in therapy. Like, I got a therapist, and I still have her because, like, it's a lot. It's overwhelming, and it can change. It changes your life financially. It changes your life time-wise. Like, it can change who you are, what you did, and that's a lot mentally to deal with. And the one thing I'll say about entrepreneurship is that it is the most emotionally, it's the biggest emotional roller coaster I've ever been on. There are days where you're like, that is amazing, we're gonna make $1 million, thing's gonna blow up. And then the very next day, you're like, that's it, we have to close shop, we've lost everything. This is never gonna work. Whose idea was this? Who do I need to slap? And sometimes you can have that in the same day. You go through like the highest of highs followed by the lowest of lows. And and it vacillates so quickly between the two. It's really, really hard to keep in some type of sane headspace. So meditation, if you need a therapist, get one.
Talkspace.com.
Yeah, sincerely, like whatever you need to do. Like you could also, I went from being, having Cadillac health insurance working for Microsoft to having none, and like the stress of that, like being self-employed. It's not for the faint of heart. I think that entrepreneurship is glamorized way too much. There have been times where I haven't paid myself because I didn't have the cash flow, but I had to make sure that I was borrowing money from my bank account to make sure my staff got paid. You will go through it. And I think that if we don't tell the truth about what entrepreneurship really, really means, if all we talk about is the glory of ownership and like making all this money, we do it a disservice.
Yeah.
Because it is hard. It's not for the weak-hearted. It's not. Because it is hard. Well, let me see what else.
Got one last point or
Anybody else had a question? Anybody was alive?
No, I've been getting all the questions off the gram, so we good back here. Instagram, y'all good? Y'all got any questions for the panel? Speak now, forever hold your peace. What up, Big Chase? Big Chase.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, ladies, it's been.
Last question.
This has been great. It really has. We are. Last questions. We don't have any last questions. So this is the part where you guys let us know how can we support you, how can we get in contact with you to support you, and what you do. Let us know what's the info, what's the IGs, what's the Facebooks and all that.
From our various live chats.
So our IG, excuse me, our Instagram is Buy Some Goodies LLC. Don't message me nowhere else because I won't get you goodies anywhere else. At Buy BUY Some SOME Goodies GOODIES LLC.
That's what's up.
So you can find 40 Acres at 40acresfreshmarket.com. That is the word 40, FORTY, acres, ACRES, fresh, FRESHMARKET.com. You also can, find us at 40 Acres Fresh Market on both Instagram and Facebook. Best way to support is to buy something. If you're in Chicago, order delivery. If you're in the city of Chicago, we will deliver to you. If you just want to buy groceries from us, but you don't live here, do what Sinclair's girlfriend did. She bought boxes and then just said donate them to a family in need. And so, yeah, and we did that. So that was dope. You can order a t-shirt online. So like we're a small business. Money's what matters. So
yeah, I feel that.
That's how you do it.
Sure, man. Glad you can check in with us.
That's what's up. Anybody else?
So plug real quick. My business, you can find me online at www.essentiallyyours.com, and that is spelled ESENSUALLYYOURZ.com. I'm also on Instagram. I've just merged my business page and my personal page because I am the brand, and so we are all in one space. So you can find me on Instagram at self_love_queen, KWEEN. And we appreciate it if people can, word of mouth is good, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, share, support, buy something. As a small business, we all could use that kind of love, an offering, a donation, anything. We appreciate it.
Sorry, I'm shaking y'all.
All right, before we go, I want to give a shout out to Karina. As she said, she had to leave us earlier. But you can go to www.etsy.com/shop/the Nail Geek FL THENAILGEEKFL. Florida, the Nail Geek Florida, for her products. We had a late submission. It doesn't even look like he has his mic on, but I don't know. But Matthew Williams came in. He is the owner and operator of Diverse Clothing. He popped in real late, but man, how can we get in contact with you where we can get the gear, man?
All right, so you can definitely get in contact with me on Instagram at Diverse Apparel. It has the website link. I'll check my DMs. I also have my personal page on there, so it gives a lot of avenues for you to reach out to me. You can also go on the website, diverseapparel.com, where all of the clothing options are listed, and we're also working on developing a section for other Black businesses where they will be promoted. So podcasts, music, fashion, modeling, all of that will have its own entire section to be promoted so that, we can kind of build an entire network for everybody.
Oh. That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. This has been another Bud Talk.
Appreciate y'all.
We do appreciate your time. We appreciate your thoughts. And we wish you nothing but good faith, good fortune, and good health. And y'all be safe.
Y'all have a good night.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
No problem.
That's it, everybody.